All right, guys. All right, let's real quick. Winner of tonight's debate.
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris,
Number
faking
two.
faking it, but definitely did good too. Biden.
I imagine, like I kept saying, I don't trust Gillibrand, but she's saying good things. I wouldn't be surprised if
I'd be okay
Google
giving
trends
her,
go up if some people call her a big winner from the.
I would be okay calling her number 3.
Yeah. Okay, so the big 3: Sanders, Kamala, Gillibrand.
Okay. I did not expect Gillibrand to do as well as she did.
Yeah, she was being overly, she was doing something I wanted Tulsi to do, actually.
Yeah. We got another super chat. I was right. Biden said folks exactly three times. You called it. Good job.
All right, you know what? Yeah, that's right. I forgot to mention because somebody was saying, like, in the chat, like, Biden's going to say folks.
Yeah.
I wasn't keeping track. I should have paid closer attention.
Glad she did.
That was,
Well, you know what? Biden is the biggest loser. He took a beating. There's no. I could see corporate media somehow writing headlines saying Biden was held his own, but Biden really lost.
Okay, who did the worst?
Besides Biden, excluding Biden?
Yeah, remember, from the perspective of someone that isn't involved in politics seeing this, who did the worst?
Probably Swalwell.
I think
Swalwell definitely did the worst.
It's Swalwell or Bennett.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Swalwell, Bennett, and then there's Yang.
I think Yang did, I think Yang was third worst. Because if you didn't know who Yang was going into this debate, you still wouldn't know him leaving the debate.
Yeah, he barely got in one sentence about the freedom dividend, which is his marquee piece of legislation that has gathered him the most support and it has generated the most dialogue.
Actually, I want to make one suggestion. Does Biden did the worst? What do you think of that?
Biden lost the most.
Yeah,
but does that mean he performed the worst?
I think the margin is the most important thing. Wouldn't you say?
Okay. Then I think he certainly lost.
Yeah,
the most.
Biden lost.
Biden
lost the ability of basically being the front runner and basically going unchallenged,
being perceived as the front runner. Because I don't think he ever truly was.
Yeah, no, no, that's true. Correct. So Biden lost the most, especially in regards to being perceived as the front runner.
I would say after Yang, I would give the 6th place to Marianne Williamson. She had points, she made them, but they were
incoherent.
Yeah, but at least she said something.
Yeah, she said something.
Her first 2 or 3 answers were pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the second 2 or 3 times that she spoke, it was like, just what do you just stop talking? Stop talking.
Okay, I'm gonna say that if we give a 4th place, I would give it to Buttigieg.
Yeah,
because I mean, people dressed him down a lot, but he handled it really, really well.
I thought that the way he answered that question, I really felt like he was experienced.
Well, he knew he had to prepare for that one.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying, like, from the outside looking in, like, it looked like you'd be like, oh, that poor guy, it's a terrible situation. Like,
okay, hold on, we got a $2 donation from DCK Punk. Marianne Williamson needs to be in every debate.
We'll see.
We'll see, but hopefully. I think after tonight, I think she's done.
So here, I want you guys to tell us if you think this is reasonable. If you have your own list, we have our list. Bernie Sanders in first, Kamala Harris second, Gillibrand third, Buttigieg 4, Hickenlooper 5, Williamson 6, Yang 7, Bennett 8, Swalwell 9, Biden 10.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable.
I don't know. It's weird. Like, where Swalwell ends up after this is lower than where Biden ends up after this. But so in terms of debate performance, Biden certainly lost the most, and so I can see why we're putting him at the end of the list. Eric Swalwell started at 0 and ended up at 0.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Swalwell talking about passing the torch and then mentioning how he heard Biden speak. Mind you, again, that was probably during 1988 when Biden was speaking, the same election cycle where Biden had plagiarized a member of the British Parliament who was running for prime minister.
He didn't do much to set himself apart. I'm just trying to go like, what did he say?
And why are you saying passing the torch? Passing the torch. Well, I mean, what you're basically you just gave a free opening and some free airspace for Biden to speak as soon as you said that.
Yeah.
Hey, Biden, would you like to respond to that? And Biden smiled like, oh, yeah, I got a nice little bloopy here just to say some nice things about myself.
Okay.
It's question 1 that he got. Automation. You know, how would you handle deals with that? And it says, skills for the new world. Tech should create more jobs than it displaces. How?
Are you talking about Yang?
No, that was Swalwell.
Oh.
That's just like a one-off statement. It should create more jobs in these places, but automation makes doing work easier, and computers can do the jobs that people do. So how is it? How? Describe to me what technology you would want to see come into place that makes more jobs.
Okay, so let's check this out. Flash Flood Area 3. Kamala won Best Actress. Zach Cushy Murray. Kamala deserves an Oscar. Absolutely.
I like that.
She did good, but it was an act. Yeah. There's no way any progressive or independent, especially those in independent media, can say that Kamala Harris was on point. She wasn't.
Yeah, no, I gotta say though, I was like Yang. I expected much more out of him.
I expected more out of Yang.
I expected a huge amount more. He was just passive. He was like Tulsi Gabbard yesterday in just the first section when she wasn't doing well. Did better than Yang because at least she said stuff.
Yeah, no, not only did she say stuff, but I mean, she did make attempts to make her presence heard. And the thing is, Yang, I was rooting for you.
Tell me, say his name again.
Who, Andrew Yang?
Who?
Exactly.
That's the hard part.
I was rooting for him. This was the night for him to really, get his message out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be saying this if Tulsi Gabbard at least didn't say some strong points.
In the first hour, that was basically what I was insinuating with Tulsi. I'm like, if she doesn't get through in the second hour, well, she's done. And she did really good in the second hour.
Look, and that's the thing. And we're seeing the aftermath. Look, we're seeing the attack articles on Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
We're seeing the fact that she was rising in polls and the very fact that people are searching for her more on social media and online. Tulsi Gabbard did good on the first debate. Andrew Yang, we were expecting him to be the wild card.
Yeah,
but he didn't deliver.
He has such a unique policy perspective that he should be able to carve a good niche out for himself, and he isn't.
And he should have been able to at least challenge his opponents on the debate stage. And granted, we're seeing the camera there focus on him, but he should have left more of a real impact on that stage. Yeah. He should have been talking to people. He should have been really getting his message out there. And I get that he might be able to do some viral videos here and there, or do some good interviews, or maybe make some interesting posts on social media. But if you're not going to, on a debate night with 9 other opponents on the debate stage, get yourself out there. If not, well then it's time for you to drop out. I'm sorry about that.
I want to read the quote from Mike Fagan. Tim Rines is still standing at his podium wondering what happened.
With his deer in the headlights. Fucking look. I was going over the notes that I'd taken on Harris's answers because I still think it's like I did not think she was going to perform as well as she did, and our perception after the 2 hours of debate was that she performed really, really well.
Yeah, it's great acting.
And great acting. That's kind of where we're coming at, and I think the way that we evaluate that is the answers that she gave were. She's well spoken. They're relatively concise. They're easy to follow. You can see what she's saying. I take issue with a couple of her answers where she did that very politician-y thing of inserting a couple of weasel words into what otherwise sounds like a very good policy. So I noticed, on the topic of concentration camps at the border and family separation, and would you support path to citizenship, or should we deport parents? How should this work? She used the phrase, we should extend the deferral of deportation of parents.
Okay, so Assos Zubov
hang on, though. Extend the deferral by how much?
Yeah.
So you're still going to deport them at some point.
Also, one thing very interesting that Tulsi had, what I called in my notes, a half UBI, because she wanted...
Harris.
Yeah. She wanted to give what I guess is a tax credit for families, I guess, but that's something that's going to compete with Yang even more so that,
But she didn't make that, I guess, in the same way that Yang wasn't able to really highlight his marquee policy. Yeah. She kind of like slipped that in. Like, you'd have to be pretty astute and be like, hey, on a tax credit, that's a little bit like this. Okay, we did the math really quick when she said that and said, okay, that's half of what Yang is promising. But you'd have to, first of all, already know about Yang's policy, which he didn't even cover until the very end. Like, if you were not familiar with Andrew Yang, you wouldn't be making that association or comparison or doing the math in your head.
Right.
I don't know. I find most of the rest of her answers to be palatable.
Yeah.
Like they're fine. They sound pretty good, normal, democratic. Like
Kira Elliott.
These are your values.
By the way, Kira Elliott does
mostly vapid.
Kira Elliott mentions this. Kamala gets the Oscar, and then Asel Zubavar mentions Kamala will rise in the polls. Unfortunately, I think this is a much needed boost.
And this, I want to pat myself a little bit on the back. A year ago, I said that it was eventually going to be between Sanders and Kamala. And the last couple weeks, I thought, no, I was wrong. This made me think maybe I wasn't.
Yeah, because Beto, Biden, and Buttigieg and Booker, 4 Bs, mind you. Saw what I did there.
Uncle Joe, cousin Joe, nephew Joe,
and
Pete Buttigieg is nephew Joe.
Yeah.
Beto O'Rourke is cousin Joe, and Joe Biden is Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
How come we can't make it nephew Pete, Uncle Joe, and who's the third?
Buttigieg.
No, Pete Buttigieg.
Oh, yeah.
He's the nephew.
No, Beto.
Okay, so Beto gets to be cousin Beto. Yeah. I think we should use their first names. Otherwise, it's confusing if they're all
Fair
Joe.
enough.
They're all Joe. Which
Fair
one?
enough.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think Bernie got a lot of attacks tonight and handled some things better than others, right? So the particular attack that really stung was the would you raise taxes? And you were right in the moment to mention that you can't just say yes, because that's the correct answer, because it takes an extra sentence to explain, but the cost is lower, right? You will no longer have to pay either through your employer or individually for your personal health insurance, because it will be provided to you by the government, and that will be paid for by a tax program that does affect all income tax brackets.
Right.
Now, it will affect the higher income tax brackets more. Your taxes as a middle income earner will increase as a result of that, but that increase in taxes is not more than what you would be saving from not paying for that health insurance. It's a thing that he explained repeatedly in 2016. It's a case that has been made repeatedly by proponents of Medicare for All, and yet they still ask this question because it's a good gotcha.
Yeah.
Because you have to say yes, because that's how the plan works. And as soon as you say yes, we don't want to hear the rest of the explanation. We're just moving on.
Yeah.
You're going to raise taxes. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a particularly hard gotcha question that I think he did about as well as you can. He didn't directly answer it, and I think people will ding him for not directly answering the question, but there isn't a direct answer to that question that is good.
Yeah.
The question is designed, it's a gotcha. It's a question that's designed such that you can't answer it.
But were we not expecting this, though, from at least from the establishment, especially from the moderators?
Right, it's not unexpected.
To do gotcha questions towards Bernie Sanders, and at least, granted, he had to keep it simple.
But he was not able to flip that gotcha question on its head nearly as successfully as Tulsi was able to do so with her gotcha question.
That's true. Hey, did you like that video? Hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up icon, and also hit that ring bell notification so that way you guys know when we have more content up on the Hard Lens Media YouTube channel. But Paul, what else can people do to help us out?
Keep watching.